Brum, brum.
When you look at it, it's a 50-year-old Ferrari. I mean, it don't look 50 years old. I mean, it looks modern, really.
I feel like you really done at 80 odd.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Don't act 80.
I think
He doesn't know that either.
I think it's just the car for an 80-year-old old boy. The other thing that happened, when we bought the Ferrari, we drove back down the M25 and it got a bit hot. And it wasn't bad, but I didn't know whether the fans were cutting in. So anyway, we got onto the hard shoulder and we sat there and let it cool down. And that's when I discovered this nonsense with the throttle linkage. But anyway, that's the same story. So then when we got back, it was Thursday night, and Duncan Ricketts has a little meeting that he's organised with the vintage people in the pub, literally next door to where he lives. So Susie said, now don't forget we've got to go to Duncan's. So anyway, we jumped straight in the car and drove over to Duncan's. Susie went in her 190 SL and I went in this. By then I'd realised that pressing the throttle down hard, it went beautifully, so that was all right. And then old Duncan had his racer there, which is GP1. I think it's a very, very of the last ERAs. So it's got the normal ERA engine, but it looks more like a modern racing car. And Duncan's done a fantastic amount of work on it because he's one of them blokes who can do it. I think he served an apprenticeship at Austin Rover in the experimental department, so he's really good at doing body work, and obviously he can do engines, he can do it all. He can actually drive them bloody good too. So anyway, we went to see him, and luckily it was quite a good meeting. There were some very good cars there, loads of Elvises, and then Duncan started the car up for us on methanol. So don't forget, when he starts this, it's on methanol. Very often people have to put them on petrol to get them going and then run them on methanol. But, you know, he's a clever bugger and he's got it sort of sus. But you might be interested to see that. So although it's only a snippet, we're going to stick it in anyway. Susie's going to put a bit on about me and Bruce talking about the car. Unfortunately, the sound is not perfect, but it's good enough, I think. But what happened was we couldn't find the video camera because Susie gave it to us when she went cycling and we lost it, and me and her looked forever, we couldn't find it. So in the end she had to use another camera that she wasn't familiar with, and that's why the sound's a bit iffy. But in the end we found the GoPro in there, unzipped it, and there it was. We'd looked all around the workshop and done everything, and looked at everywhere 10 times, and obviously it was an aggravation. But anyway, recently I've had one letter from a man with a cassette carburettor. I've had another one from a man with a Solex carburettor, and they all seem to think I'm some kind of guru. Well, I ain't, but I can tell you how I actually work out how things work. So what I've decided, although it isn't necessary to take this carburettor off, I'm going to take that carburettor off, I'm going to strip it down, and I'm going to show you how, when I get a carburettor and I don't know how it works, I squirt various drops of WD down various holes and just literally look at it until I work out, oh yeah, well that one does that, and this one does that, and that one does the other. And that is how I've always done it all my life, because, you know, I'd never seen a cassette carburettor until I saw one on a car. And there ain't no books to read, and if there is, I ain't clever enough to find them. So that's what I'm going to do, and Susie will make a video of that. And then when we do that, we'll then set the carburettors up. Luckily, Susie's got 2 of these, so you can put that in there, and you can put that in there. And then I think, and again, I don't know for sure, but I think those screws there, that one there, and that one there, adjust the throttle inside the carburettor so that you can get both chokes pulling the same amount. So when I do it, I'll do that, and then I'll set all the screws back, and then I'll go around it and I'll try it on all of them, and then I'll set the throttle linkage up, and then hopefully we'll have a car that goes a bit nicer. But that will be quite a video. But the one with Bruce just happened to be he was here. He borrowed my Elvis to take some young girls to a prom. And when he brought it back, I happened to be here, and Susie happened to be here. The only thing we didn't have, of course, was the camera. But anyway, I told you what happened there.
Let's do a quick little lap. Well, what have you come in today?
Well, we bought a 308 GTB, fibreglass one, with a V8 engine. At lunchtime we bought it and we driven back and we got stuck on the blooming M25. In the end I had to pull off and let it cool down a little bit. A 50-year-old, is it 50 years old?
Well, near enough, isn't it? 76?
Yeah, so poor old thing, you know. Not having driven it before, I was worried about whether the fans were kicking in and things like that. But anyway, we managed it. Susie managed to cut across the traffic and save me.
Oh, you're lucky to have me.
Taxi. Oh, look at that, it's nice. I had a complete one of them years ago and it was dead rough, you know. It was just the sort of thing you'd have to restore. I sold it to somebody. That could even be it, you never know. Oh look, Daimler. I think the front brakes are not exactly big, are they?
Oh gosh, tiny.
Then. They look like wheel discs almost, don't they?
Oh, a Bentley.
And oh, look at that.
You don't see many of those, do you?
Oh, that's good, isn't it? Right, a bit like my Salsa. Now, I bet my Salsa's charging now. We could have come in that.
I think we've had a busy day.
See that, look? That's what they look like when they make new ones.
Okay.
Because they're always, this bit all disappears. Fraser and Ashes, A-Charge it. Lansing Aurelia. Bentley. Looks like a supercharged one.
It's a great turnout.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I can't believe it.
Elvis.
There was loads of Elvises which were coming on. Oh, that is called the sand racer. That used to race in the sands. I think Southport.
Oh, really?
That's near you, isn't it?
Yeah. Another Elvis.
That's a bit like the old Don AZL, isn't it? Except it's a bit immaculate.
It's a bit smart. Oh, look at the mascot. Well, that's a Humber as well.
Oh, yeah, it's Old Bill or something, that's called, I think.
I'll tell you what, this is the first pub car meet we've been to this year because the weather's been so bad.
And we're not freezing. And another Elvis. Just shows you how good them Elvises are. They've all survived. Nice Vauxhall. Wonder whether that's that man we know, you know, with the clocks.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
And
another Riley.
The tank up, you know.
Okay.
Good for the biceps.
Oh.
You watch Car in Space when this thing starts up.
Right.
She'll shoot me.
Ivan.
That's the secret. That's the secret bit.
Yeah, lift the carburetor a little tiny bit with a little bit of spacer.
Oh, is that what he's doing?
Turn it on, give it a tickle.
Yeah, that's always good, that turning it on.
I know. It gets more difficult as you get older though, doesn't it?
Yeah. Forget all the
Is that on meth?
That's on meth, is it?
That's on meth.
Starting it up.
Oh, look at that red car parked at a jaunty angle. Well, you've done 150 miles in it today. That's getting used to it.
Felt like it, no, I tell you. I tell you what, the windscreen, I don't know whether it's dirty or what. I think I'll give it a wipe before the car. Struggling. I'll tell you, when the sun shines down, that reflects in the window.
Okay.
So it's not perfection.
Yet.
No, we've definitely got a lot of scope for having a go.
Fantastic. Right.
It's an original car.
You happy with it?
Yeah, it's a very good car. All it wants is a bit of love, really.
So we're just checking the lights. And Ivan's new toy.
Well, I wonder where the switch is. Oh, it says lights.
Oh yeah, they work. Hold on, Ivan. Oh, that one's not very good. It's a bit droopy on that side.
Try doing them on and off again.
He did mention this actually.
Oh well, we'll fix that.
Oh, I've got side lights.
Yeah.
I think that means it's time to head home.
Yeah, no, that's all right.
You've got tail. You've got tail lights. You've got tail lights.
Right, this is my mate Bruce from Greenford. If you remember, he did the valve clearance on the Kit Kat Janetta. And he's worked on everything you can think of. And put them on dynos and modify you name it, he's had a go at it. So, obviously, I've just bought this Ferrari and he appeared on the scene. So I said to him, what do you know about these then, Bruce? And he said, well,
yeah, so that must be getting on for nearly 10 years ago now. I was working for a company in Swindon, and they had one of these in for a rebuild, which involved really going to town because it was in a Ferrari Challenge race car. So it had new cams and forged pistons, steel rods. Anyway, it was very successful. The best part of 400 horsepower. And we modified the dry sump system to make it more efficient. Ended up being a really, really good car.
And then there was this story about the breathers, Bruce, wasn't it?
Yeah, so we were playing around on the dyno, and this is the engine breathing system going to the dry sump tank. Then on the dyno, we were using a dyno dry sump tank and not the car. So we were just venting these to atmosphere. So I walked into the dyno test cell, the engine was running at, I don't know, 4,000 RPM, and I put my finger over the breathers, and it was pulling a really good vacuum because we'd done some modifications to the baffles inside the sump. The sump on these is just, it's like a big baby, it's like a bath really. It's about that wide, about that so, and about that deep. And the dry sump system's got two massive dry sump pumps to suck the oil and the air out. Well, they work really well, so we've done some baffling work to make it all more efficient. Anyway, I put my fingers over these two breather pipes and it was nearly sucking my thumbs off. I'm like, wow, that's pulling some really good vacuum. So the engine was running in the dyno and I rummaged around in the dyno drawer and I found a couple of red caps that you would normally just use to, blanking pipes off to stop the dust going in. And I just popped them over the end of the breather. So I said to the boys, give it another run. And it made another 8 horsepower everywhere, so over the whole speed range. So I said to the boys, well, you can't run it like that in the car. You have to put a one-way valve in case the crankcase ever went positive. It can bleed back to the dry sump tank. So anyway, that was 8 horsepower for free. And that's all about having a vacuum underneath the piston. Now, lots of people say, well, that doesn't make any difference, but what can you say? On this particular engine, it did. But when I was just talking to Ivan on the phone the other day, and he said, I've just bought a Ferrari. So I was like, well, I was quite astounded, really, and then realised that...
because he should be buying a Honda Jet.
Well, I did say to him that, you relive in your youth, mate. but he's got this idea of racing it, so that'll be a bit of fun.
Yeah, well, that's provided because I can get my licence sorted out. But I'm going to put my bulldog onto that. She's called Susie.
Oh,
But what I didn't realise is that they made one with a fibreglass body. It's a lightweight. And then, of course, you get on the internet and start looking at, what they're all about. I didn't really know they made one.
Well, you see, what happened with me was, when I bought the other one, and I met Susie in that, I joined the Ferrari Owners Club, and I got their bulletin, and they do quite an interesting hill climb championship, which is, you have to drive them on the road, and there's a sort of handicap system where if you've got the latest, most powerful one, you don't get as many points as you would do in another one. And I looked at it, and I thought, well, the more and more I looked at Ferraris, I found this fiberglass, just like you. I didn't know they made of fiberglass. This fiberglass, lightweight ball of fire, really. And So again, I started to look into them, and then I started looking at them, and I nearly bought one, but it was a lovely car, and I thought, well, I don't really want a lovely car, because I'm only going to take it to bits and bugger about a bit, because that's what I do. I like to have a bit of fun.
This one was a lovely car.
Well, it is a lovely car, but it was cheap.
Okay.
And the others were a lot more money. So anyway, I bought it with the intention of, in the winter, me and John are going to take that out and, you know, try and make it look less like a 1970s kit car. You know, I mean, all the hoses are all old, and, you know, so I thought we'd make a nice job of them and just generally make it into a very usable car. But obviously, if I managed to get some kind of a licence, if I could do the Hill Climb Championship, I might well do it. But it's very interesting, really, because I think Ferrari missed a big point. If they'd have said, whatever it is in Italian for fiberglass, what is it, Susie?
Is it vetroresina?
Vetroresina.
That's the one.
If they'd have called it Vetroresina.
Vetroresina.
Oh, Vetroresina, I think that's it. Vetroresina, Competizione, lightweight, you know, whatever. They probably were worth £1 million now, because they didn't make many of them, and it's dead light. Press that boot roof. Look. It's, you know, it's a very light car. So if they'd have made it have crank-up windows, that'd have made it another 100 grand. If they'd, instead of having the electric things to lift the lights up, if they'd have had a bit of string to lift the lights up, that'd have been another 100 grand. I mean, when you think about an RS Porsche, which is a very good car, I might add, but it's only a 911 Porsche with a tweaked-up engine, and obviously it is, and it's got better. It's a very good car. But it ain't no more tweaking than what this is, and they're like £250,000 for a cheap one. A lightweight one is even more, a lot more. So I thought, well, this is a bargain, really. It's got a 3-litre V8 engine. It's a lightweight. Just because the Italians didn't call it a competizione, they ain't a load of money.
It's kind of slipped under the radar a little bit.
It does. I mean, you didn't know they made fiberglass ones. I didn't know they made fiberglass ones. So they only made, I think, 150 right-hand drive ones, yeah. So all in all, I think it's a knockout, really, and if I never managed to do anything else but drive it on the road. But when you look at it, it's a 50-year-old Ferrari. I mean, it don't look 50 years old.
We're doing all right, but I've just walked up to see Ivan is working with the carburetors. So what are you up to then, Ivan?
Well, I drove it down the motorway, and it got a bit hot. And so I thought I'll drive it really slowly, and I drove it really slowly, and it was desperate. And I thought, well, it's obviously, I've got to be careful here. So I went like 50 miles an hour right back to here. So when I got back to near here, I thought, well, now I'm near home, I'll give it a boot forward and see what happens. I pressed the accelerator on, and it went off like a loony, all the plugs cleared up, it was beautiful. Oh. So I reckon that what it's doing is running on this bank on very light throttle, and the other throttle is not opening. Yeah. So what it's doing is sucking all the stuff from the slow running, and every now and again it's going bang in the exhaust and all that nonsense. And the minute you drive it flat out, lovely. Yeah. So anyway, so
you're not supposed to drive a Ferrari flat.
Well, yeah.
Drive it slowly.
No, but I thought there might be something wrong with it. You see.
Got it.
So anyway, so then we start it up, and Susie's got one of those things that you put on there, which I've got to borrow from her.
Oh, okay, yeah, you can.
But I haven't got one. See, so I did I'll put that in there.
With a Mark 1 ERA.
And it's going doof, 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 doof. And I put it in that one, and it was just making a sucking noise. It wasn't going doof, doof, doof. So in other words, you couldn't hear the valve opening. Yeah. So then I looked at the throttle linkage, and when you open that very gently, this one opens, as you can see, look, it opens that much before the other one even moved. Oh,
so desperate, yeah.
Once you give it a bit of throttle, it goes onto the main jets and fires lovely. And then Bruce noticed that if you look at the air screws on this carburetor, which I can't even see.
Yeah, so if you look at the throttle stop on this one,
yeah,
it's much different. That one's actually wound fully off.
Okay.
And then the one on the front set of carburetors is a gap. So this one's set far opening than that one.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but you see, I don't like all this, you know, and with all this old pipe.
Well, it's a fire waiting to happen, isn't it? Sadly, so
yeah. So I think I'll go down to see Spectrum Hoses. There's a very nice man in there, and he really helps me. And I'll try and make it have that all proper braided, proper hose, you know.
Yeah. And they do it in black now, so it doesn't look so obvious.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no, I think you know, it's a good old car. It just needs a bit of tweaking, really.
But there's a whole video of setting them up because they've got each one's got its own mixture screw.
Yeah.
Then it's got its own air bleed.
Yeah.
To match it from one side of the carburetor to the other.
Yeah.
And then of course you've got the balance bar to then slowly join them all together.
Yeah.
So so when you do
really you've got to take the throttle linkage off.
Yeah.
Get it running nicely, and then connect it all up.
Once it's running sweet, and it'd probably take you a good video to just do the carburetor setup.
Yeah, I think it will. Yeah,
and it'd be very interesting because everybody's going to see how you do it.
Yeah, yeah, and then there's these things in here which when you take, because obviously there's an air cleaner goes on there, and I've just put that back so I can run it and see what's going on. But there's some little spacers in here, and when you lift the air cleaner off, they fall out and they fall down the carburetor. Well, obviously, you know, you don't want that to happen, but I can't see why you can't turn that lot over and have the flange on the top, which stops them falling out, on the top.
Yes.
So as you lift it off, they ain't going to fall out.
It would make sense, yeah.
I don't know why that's not standard procedure. Unless my one was wrong. But anyway, I'm going to tip them over. And I've tipped them over here now to see when I run it, whether it hurts it at all. But I don't think it will.
I don't think it will. No, as long as the trumpet's down nicely onto the Venturi, which it is. So happy days.
So that's it. I'm convinced that's a little tweak that I'm going to do, and I'll explain that a bit more obvious when we do put the air cleaner back. Because at the moment I don't want to take that off again, and because Susie was off cycling in Ireland, and the wind was blowing and the rain was coming down. And she was telling me on the phone, and I wasn't laughing, but I had my hand over the phone. Now, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget the thumbs up.